Oh, another perfect day here in San Francisco, California. Early morning, already in the 70s. Let's go on with the next video. So let's get on with the environmental news. And yes, there will be a vegetarian conversion session at the end. So here in the US, Scott Pruitt, the head of the EPA, Environmental Protection Agency, resigned. But before he did that, he did something horrible. He gave more giveaways to the polluters. So he rolled back emissions for manufacturing of trucks, but not just any trucks, glider trucks, which pollute 450 times more than a regular 18-wheeler. Why would he do that? They're going to experiment with 300 trucks at the beginning, and then they'll continue on from there. Scott Pruitt, you deserve what's coming. But there's more. So it's quite amazing, the heat wave that's going around the planet. Let's just look at some of the top numbers. As you can see, extraordinary. 117s are becoming the norm in many parts of the world now. Remember I said that once you get past 120, air conditioning isn't going to be any good. You know, it's just, you're going to fail. The heat is too much for them. But I don't give up. I know that the heat's coming on, and I know that there's going to be mass migration from both northern Africa and, of course, the Middle East. You know it's coming. You can see it by the temperatures. People have no choice. When they come, they're going to come. Desperate, just like they're coming to the U.S. and other parts of the world. Let them come, people. Stop. You know, just this anti-migrant thing is blowing my mind. People are people. Come on, accept them. They're in desperate needs. Do the people on the right ever think of what happens when they're desperate? Should people just ignore them, leave them on the side of the road? But because you know that the heat waves are coming, you are prepared. You know what you're going to have to do when it gets too hot to live where you are. You probably thought about it and studied it. So you're going to know when it's time to move. Make sure you do it earlier, sooner than later, because then you're going to end up with the last of the bits that are left instead of getting the best. So, I have told many people that it's not over yet. I said, it's not over. Don't give up. Things are going to change because of you, the watcher, and other people in the progressive side that are just not going to take this anymore. So, good news over at the EU, the resignation of Boris Johnson and David Davis. I told you good news was coming. You see, you just don't get so frustrated with humans, you know? We're slow, but once you get going, things will change. We saw it in the 60s. We've seen it throughout history. When countries start to degrade and go into that horrible place, change is coming. It's best that we change it the way we want. This is a big change, really good news, and maybe the progressives can now take some of these seats back. We hope that the people are smart enough to put them in office. So there are also calls for the Queen to dissolve Parliament. There you go. And bring on new elections. All right, so next I wanted to go into our conversion from meat eating to vegetarian. And I'm going to take it slow, as I have been. Hopefully you have ordered your rooibos tea, and the pans are on the way. So the next thing we're going to talk about in equipment is knives, and how important a good knife is. Here's an example of a good knife set. You don't buy knives in sets. You buy professional knives, the ones that the cooks in the professional restaurants use. Here's one. It's a paring knife by Woodstock, and these are expensive, but again, it'll probably be your last knife you'll ever buy. Cutting correctly and with a sharp knife is absolutely needed to cut vegetables and different fruits. So here you go. You've got your bread knife, you've got your two chef knives. I prefer this style, but you may want the traditional style. Here's a cheese knife. I find this cheese knife is so much better than a regular knife. It's worth the extra money to pay for it. And then, of course, the little paring knife, the most useful knife in the kitchen, in my opinion, for a vegetarian. You notice, no steak knives, no meat knives at all. Don't need them. You're a vegetarian now. Another thing you're going to need is a good cutting board. This one is made out of little pieces of throwaway hardwoods that they stick together in a very thick block and sell it as a cutting board. Again, you got to keep it oiled. Don't want a lot of water on it. Take the water off as soon as possible, and this board will last you a lifetime. So let's talk about something. Let's finally get into what you're going to be eating, the food itself. So, as most people know their food groups, let's go into them. What is a vegetarian, vegan food group? All right, a vegetarian food group is vegetable, fruits, beans, legumes, nuts, and seeds. That's what a vegan eats. Now, a vegetarian includes eggs, cheese, and some milk product of some sort, like a liquid milk, maybe some cream or something every now and then. When I say every now and then, I mean every now and then. Maybe 4 eggs a month, 1 cube of cheese that you use for seasonings, and of course, real whipped cream for dessert. We don't mess around. Because you're a vegetarian, you're not going to put on the weight like you used to, so you can enjoy real desserts for those that enjoy desserts. What food groups are we going to not eat from? Seafood, poultry, meat. We're going to go to the page that's down in the link there. Just click it up and bring it up and have it up there while I'm talking, or look at it as I'm talking. Look at it. Let's take an example here. Peanuts. Now that's in the nut group. So let's go to the peanut page, and here is the nutrient value. But this isn't what we're going to talk about in this particular instance. Let's go down the page, down towards the bottom. You're going to see concerns. Now, this is the safety part that's so important with vegetarian and vegan, that you read each concern about each food. That's what makes you different from a meat eater. You know what you're eating. There's no doubt. You know how much you need and what chemicals and elements you need to grow your body. But safety is number one. Now let's click this concern about oxalates. You see that oxalates are one of the concerns about eating too many peanuts. About 20% of the food that you eat contains oxalates that contribute to kidney stone formation. See, so you might say, well, I'll just eat all the nuts and seeds I can to give me protein. It's not that easy. You have to pay attention to the concerns down at the bottom of each food source on this homework. Read about oxalates. Read about the concern about peanuts. That's the homework today. And you'll see that there's some controversy over it, but peanuts need to be eaten in rations so that you don't end up with big kidney stones. So a lot of discussion on the last video, mostly about converting over to veganism and vegetarianism. And I certainly appreciate everybody that brought up different things that it helps me understand it even more. Though I've been a vegetarian most of my life, when I moved out of the house, I couldn't take the eating the meat and the gristle and the rubberiness, and a discussion came up about whether killing an animal and eating it is better or worse than going to the store and eating it. Well, there are 7.6 billion people right now, so obviously going to the store is going to be better on the environment than going out and killing an animal. But if you were to kill an animal, put it in the freezer, and eat off that as your meat source, you are killing less animals. Each time you go to the store and pick up some meat, an animal had to die for that. That's a dead animal. An animal gave up its life so you could have that meal. Make sure you eat the whole thing. Make sure you respect the animal that died for your meal. And think about that. Every time you eat a piece of meat, an animal had to die. That's one of the main reasons I'm a vegetarian. I don't have to think in my conscience that I actually killed an animal so that I could continue to live when I didn't have to kill an animal. This part of vegetarian conversion is thinking about it all, putting it in your mind and saying, yes, that's true. And now I'm beginning to understand the nutritional part of conversion. That's next on the following videos. We're going to get into a lot of nutrition, a lot of food, and a lot of homework part. I'm not going to do so much cooking, really. I'll put some cooking programs on that cook different meals, maybe, that kind of thing. But basically, this is the how-to part. How to convert, not how to cook. That part I may do later, or just put a link into somebody that does it better than me. I certainly do appreciate all the fantastic comments in the last video, the ups and the downs, and the new subscribers. And definitely, until next time, remember, it's not all over. Keep focused, and let's get through this.